Is it even close?
No, it's not even close.
I had to do something.
That's not close. That's not close. That's not, does yours have a hood?
It does, it does.
But you're not wearing yours like Shaggy.
That's true. Very true. And I'm from California.
How's Hunter's knee, and is it like a week thing, like a season long, or do you have an idea of?
No, I think he's fine. He bumped it against TCU, and then it had bothered him. We took the next day off, and then it had bothered me in the practices, and it bothered him during the game. But I don't think it was to the level that he couldn't play. But he should be fine. No excuses.
And tomorrow, obviously, it's just game 3, but is tomorrow a big game for you guys?
Yeah, it's a huge game. It's a big game for every game's a big game in this league. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to run the table in our league. Certainly, we didn't do ourselves any favors, obviously, Wednesday. But yeah, tomorrow's a big game. I said this in Florida. Not very often you go in the second week of an 18-game league schedule thinking, hey, God, these are must-win games. But I think there's some people that actually feel that way, and must-win's too strong, but it's a big game tomorrow.
Bill, just looking at them coming in and playing at home and being a conference opponent next year, they join the SEC. Has there been any discussions or thoughts about maybe playing them as a non-conference game down the line?
No, but that's a good question. I hadn't even thought of that. Oklahoma, home and home, as one of your 2 home and homes you play in a year. Yeah, I could maybe see something like that, but we haven't really broached that at all yet.
Yeah, and just kind of with DeJuan, and you've talked about how he needs to be a little more consistent and the level that he's been previous years. What have you kind of seen from him this year that's different? Is it just kind of taking care of the ball a little more, or is it something else?
I think it's minutes. I also think, although he played a lot of minutes last year too, but I don't think that we have valued the basketball at the same point. I see more careless plays this year, more chance taking. But when you take chances, you throw more interceptions, but you also have more big plays. So there's a, I heard this the other day. Magic Johnson was one of the leaders in turnovers every year in the NBA. But he's one of the leaders in assists because he takes more chances, the ball's in his hands more. I think we've become so accustomed to Juan not doing that it seems like to me this year it's more magnified than what it normally would be. And I do think he can be a better caretaker of the basketball.
Bill, have you noticed a different level of confidence from Johnny since you guys came back from holiday break?
Well, I thought the first half the other day, he made the play in transition that was about as athletic of anybody that we've ever had taking off 1 foot like that in transition. I mean, I don't remember CB looking like that as a freshman, but he's been shown flashes of, and that takes confidence to make that play, but he's shown flashes of shooting the ball with more confidence and looking to shoot the ball. I haven't seen him be a lot different confidence-wise in attacking the basket off the bounce and some things like that, but he'll get there. He'll get there. We're going to start Johnny tomorrow. So Johnny's going to start. We'll try something different, and we'll see how that goes. But obviously, I think he's playing with more confidence than what he was.
To circle back to DeJuan, how much pressure do you feel like is on him generally to create offense, to initiate what you guys are doing?
How much pressure is on Juan?
Yeah, compared to maybe years past.
I think in years past, we watched a lot of tape, like both OU games from last year. Jalen Wilson initiated offense. Jalen Wilson brought in transition. There's a lot of things that we've done in the past that flows into offense where we need now Juan to initiate offense, or we have. We work trying not to have to do that, but I do think there's been more of an emphasis on him initiating offense rather than us flowing into it. He's the primary guy that brings it off a made basket or whatever, or off a dead ball situation in transition, where last year we didn't care. We didn't care.
And mentioned Johnny's gonna start. What do you hope is different about what he brings compared to Marco?
Just looking at something different, and maybe it'll be good for Marco coming off the bench, kind of watching what's going on first.
I just asked Hunter if he could pick or identify who was the loudest, most vocal leader on this group. Do you have an answer? Is it easy?
You want to tell me who Hunter picked first?
Well, he said all four, surprisingly, right?
Which means none of them are. There needs to be separation. Now granted, when we won it in 22, we didn't have that. We had a group of guys. I mean, so you can do it by committee like that, but I would like for, in a game like the other day, when it is loud in there, I mean, that was a great home court crowd, and I felt like there was no control from the bench. And that's what happens on the road in loud places. So who's gonna have the control in the game? And I didn't feel like anybody really did that. There was a possession late in which we were right there, and we tried to run something, and four guys knew what we were doing and one guy didn't. And it totally botched the possession. So I do think that we can be more vocal. And to Hunter's point, I think Hunter's pretty much on point with that. But in tight situations, you need to have one guy that can kind of step up and be the vocal guy. When we won it in 08, we didn't have that. When we won it in 22, we really didn't have that. It was a group of guys. Now I know the media thought, oh, Russ Robb or whatever. And in 22, I'm sure everybody probably thought, David as much as anybody. I think you guys agree with that, which were great. But it was by committee, and this year I think that in tight situations though, it'd be nice if maybe, I can see it being Kevin as much as anybody, but maybe one guy being a little bit more demanding than what we've seen so far.
He also said in his answer that the last day or two, they've been pushed a little bit more to individually bring some guys along, and when I asked him if that meant the rest of the rotation or the young guys, he said also ourselves, holding ourselves accountable, that kind of thing. What's that?
I think this, granted, we're 13-2 and we played a great schedule and guys have done well. So let's, but our last memory is not a positive one. And so that's what we always remember, we allude to the last memory. But, I asked our guys when they were freshmen, who helped bring them along? And they told me, and I said, who are you bringing along? So I think there can be more of that. Now granted, doesn't mean it's been bad.
Right.
I just think it can be better. I remember when we were really focused going around to rooms the night before the game, and walk-ons are leading the film sessions with no coaches around, with the veterans saying, now you remember scouting report, when he catches it here, this is where we're trapping, we're not trapping here. I haven't seen that yet. Now, it's too early in the season to see that.
Sure. But
it needs to be some building blocks to get to the point where, when we do need to see that.
did you see that often? That kind of scenario that you just?
I think that we've had some unbelievably focused teams.
Yes, yeah.
And we've had some guys that didn't play, that understand their role was to make sure the guys that did play were totally locked in. And I don't think we quite sensed that yet.
With Oklahoma coming in here, just what stands out about them, and in particular, how have they taken a step forward in the third year?
Athleticism. You look at them, guys, those two guards are good athletes. And Godwin's a terrific athlete at the 5. But Moore and Obi, they're guys, they're two of the best, 10 athletes in the league. Maybe two of the best 5. I don't know. They're much more athletic. I think they score the ball much better. McCollum's a different guy, because if he gets 6 open looks, he can make 4 in back to back to back to back. I like their team a lot, and the big guy they bring in, I don't want to mispronounce. Is it Hughley? Am I saying that correctly? The big guy. He can score the ball, and they've got a nice roster. They've really improved through the portal.
That's Hughley.
It might be.
Yeah, that was you. I almost didn't recognize you with your hair comb today. So.
New year, new me.
New year, yeah. Resolution?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked Hunter, Kansas basketball has an almost cult-like following where after every loss, it's like the world's ending. Do you ever find yourself, the guys being maybe too hard on themselves? Do you do any-
Absolutely, it's not real.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, I used to care about that stuff, and I don't anymore. Players are younger, they don't know that they shouldn't care. You know, we tell them it doesn't matter, but they still care, and you sense things. Now granted, I don't know that we've ever had, I mean, when we won the national championship in 08, we lose 3 out of 5. I mean, crap happens. Now granted, you don't ever want to happen, and you don't want 1 to become 2, and all that stuff, but guys, this is sports, and these are humans. You know, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs, lost a couple this year where the Chiefs team probably was pushing the panic button too. You know, and I think they still won the West, and I think they're hosting tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So, things happen like that. But it's one of the great things about playing here is that there's so much interest. But one of the things that makes it harder, you feel more pressure because we're held to a different standard than other programs are most places, because other programs and fan bases, unless you're Alabama football or Georgia football or some other things, other fan bases know that hiccups and bad things do happen during the course of a season, and I think our fans understand that too. I just think there's a vocal minority that sometimes don't.
What do you want out of El Marco off the bench tomorrow?
Energy, aggressiveness, athleticism. Yeah, I think, but Gary, that's what I want if he's not coming off the bench too. So there's nothing major about this. It's not something that, well, this is something that we're really trying to change the outlook of our team. We're not at all. But in all honesty, to I think someone's point earlier, I think Johnny has been playing probably more consistently well here of late, and certainly looked to be more aggressive.
Just as the last thing, remember a few years ago Harbaugh came here? I just wondered if you stayed friends with him and what you thought of the title.
I do remember, and he had a very strong message that we relate to, and we talk about every year. He wore his Dickies and the same shirt because he told us it eliminated one decision he has to make every day. So I loved him. I mean, I thought he was great, and if I'm not mistaken, his wife's family's from Kansas City. Yeah, I'm happy for him, but I won't go into what his message was, but his message was something that resonates with our guys.
I bet the Gary Woodland story has to be touching to you.
Yeah.
He's back on the course.
He's back on the course, he's +1, tees off at 420 today, and he needs to shoot 200 today probably to make the cut. I just looked it up, -1's the projected cut, and he's at +1 yesterday. So yeah, and making the cut after what he's been through would be a remarkable comeback.
Anything else? They were 4-4 home this season.
What's that?
4-4 home. Chiefs.